Welcome to Norway Perspectives, brought to you by Norway Relocation Group. If you are moving to Norway with children, your mind is likely filled with 1,000 questions, but one concern will rise above all others. How do I get them into Barnehage, which is kindergarten, or skole, which is school? For many newcomers, the assumption is that enrollment in a country as socially organized as Norway will be a simple, straightforward, and perhaps even automatic process. But this is a critical misunderstanding. In reality, admissions depend on a rigid system of municipal deadlines, specific online applications, and precise documentation. Missing even one small step can mean your child doesn't get a place for months, is placed in a facility far from your home, or has to endure a stressful and chaotic start to their new life in Norway. In this episode, we'll explain in detail how kindergarten and school admissions truly work. We will cover the crucial difference between the automatic placement for school and the application-based system for kindergarten. We will walk you through the strict deadlines every parent must know to avoid falling behind. We will outline the exact documents that are required and explain why a single missing paper can delay the entire process indefinitely. We will also highlight the common mistakes that newcomers frequently make and detail the long-term consequences for children and families when the admissions process goes wrong. Understanding the Barnehage admissions process is your first major task. Let's begin with Barnehage, the Norwegian kindergarten system for children aged 1 to 5. It is vital to understand that Barnehage is not just a daycare service. It is a cornerstone of early childhood in Norway. It is the primary environment for socialization, play-based learning, and for an international child, it is the single most effective engine for learning the Norwegian language. While it is not compulsory, over 90% of children in Norway attend. Because it is not a compulsory service, you are not automatically given a spot. You must actively apply for one, and you must do so within a very specific and unforgiving time frame. The entire country runs on a synchronized admission cycle known as the main admission, or hovedopptak. This is your one and only major opportunity to secure a place for the main start date in August. Each municipality or commune manages its own application process through a coordinated online portal. This system, often called samordnet opptak, includes both municipal and private kindergartens, so you only need to submit one application. The application window is what catches most families by surprise. You need to be thinking about this far in advance. The online portals typically open in the late autumn of the year before your child is meant to start. The deadline to submit your application is strict, usually falling somewhere between February 1st and March 15th for a place starting in August. You must visit your specific commune's website to find the exact date, as it varies slightly across the country. There are no extensions and no exceptions. Inside the portal, which will be entirely in Norwegian, you will need to create a profile for your child, which requires their Norwegian national ID number or fødselsnummer. You will then be asked to list your preferred kindergartens, typically ranking between 3 and 5 choices. The system then uses an algorithm based on a set of criteria, such as proximity to your home, sibling priority, and the child's age, to allocate places. A key legal concept you must be aware of is the right to a place, or rett til plass. In Norway, children who turn 1 year old by the end of November have a legal right to be offered a kindergarten spot starting the following August. However, and this is the most important part, this right is entirely conditional. You only have this legal right if you apply by the main admission deadline. If you arrive in Norway in April and miss that deadline, your child has lost their legal entitlement for that year's main intake. You will be placed on a waiting list, or ventelist, and will only be offered a spot if and when one becomes available. After all, the on-time applicants have been served. This could be months later, and the offer will likely be for a less popular kindergarten, potentially creating a logistical nightmare for your family's daily commute. School admissions are based on your address, but your engagement is still required. When your child turns 6, they enter the compulsory school system, or grunnskolen. This process is fundamentally different from the Barnehage system. Here, placement is largely automatic, but this does not mean you can be passive. Your child's school placement is determined by a single, non-negotiable factor: your officially registered address in the National Population Register, the Folkeregisteret. Every residential address in Norway is assigned to a specific school catchment area, known as a skolekrets. The commune will automatically assign your child to their designated local school or nærskole based on this address. You generally do not get to choose a different public school. The process begins when the commune sends out a formal decision letter, a vedtaksbrev, which notifies you of your child's assigned school. This will happen in the winter or early spring before they are due to start in August. This letter will not come in the mail. It will arrive digitally in your official government inbox, which is either Digipost or Altinn. This letter is not just for your information. It is an official notice that requires action. It will contain instructions and a deadline, usually a few weeks, for you to formally confirm that your child will be taking that place. This usually involves logging into a separate school administration portal and digitally accepting the spot. The problems arise from inaction. If you do not regularly check your Digipost post inbox, you could miss this letter entirely. If you see the letter but fail to confirm the place by the deadline, the school administration may not have your child on their official class list for the start of the year. This creates a stressful administrative scramble on the first day of school, which is a difficult experience for any child, let alone one new to the country. The most serious error, however, relates to your address. If you moved to a new home but failed to update your address in the Folkeregisteret, the commune will, without question, assign your child to the school in your old neighborhood. Correcting this mistake is not simple. If the school in your new, correct neighborhood is already at full capacity, you may be denied a transfer and forced to accept the incorrect placement. For families arriving mid-year, the process is different. You must contact the commune's education office directly. They will assign your child to their local school based on your registered address. But placement depends entirely on whether there is an available space in the appropriate grade level. The required documentation can create significant delays. The Norwegian system operates on the principle of complete and correct documentation. The responsibility to provide this is entirely yours. An incomplete application will not be processed. It will simply be set aside until you provide what is missing. You should be prepared to have high-quality digital copies of several key documents. First is your child's birth certificate or fødselsattest. If the original document is not in English or a Scandinavian language, you will almost certainly need an official translation performed by a state-authorized translator. This is a formal process that takes time and money. Next, and most importantly, is proof of residence. This does not mean a rental contract. It means your child must be fully registered in the Folkeregisteret and have their own Norwegian ID number, the fødselsnummer. For new arrivals, obtaining this ID number is the absolute first step and can take several weeks. You cannot even begin a Barnehage application without it. You will also need your child's vaccination records or vaccinasjonskort, while not always a barrier to admission itself. The school and the local child health clinic, the helsestasjon, will require this information to integrate your child into the Norwegian health and vaccination program. Finally, for parents who live separately, legal custody agreements or proof of foreldreansvar are non-negotiable. The commune needs to see official documentation outlining who has the legal authority to make decisions about the child's residence and schooling. If these documents are from another country, you may need to get them legally recognized in Norway, which can be a complex process. Common mistakes made by newcomers can have lasting consequences. From our experience guiding international families, we see the same avoidable mistakes being made repeatedly. The most common is the assumption that the system is automatic for kindergarten. The Norwegian state assumes that if you need a non-compulsory service like Barnehage, you will take the initiative to research the deadlines and apply for it. Another frequent error is underestimating the Barnehage deadline. Many parents start thinking about childcare a month or two before they need it, which is far too late for the Norwegian system. You must be planning 6 to 9 months in advance to successfully participate in the main admission round. Ignoring digital letters in DigiPost is another major pitfall. This is not a commercial email account. It is the official channel for legally binding communication from every level of the Norwegian government. Failing to check it weekly is a significant risk. Many parents also misunderstand priority rules. For example, many kindergartens offer sibling priority or søskenprioritet. However, this is not granted automatically. You must specifically check a box on the application form to claim this priority. Forgetting this simple click could result in your children being placed in 2 different kindergartens across town. Finally, assuming that you can manage the process in English is a dangerous gamble. All application portals, official letters, and follow-up communications from the commune will be in Norwegian. The responsibility to understand and respond is yours. The consequences of getting admissions wrong extend beyond mere inconvenience. The fallout from these mistakes is not just about administrative headaches. It has a profound and lasting impact on your family's well-being. For the child, missing the main August start of Barnehage can mean a delay of many months before a place becomes available. This is a critical period for language acquisition and social development. When they finally do start, they enter a social group that has already been established for months, making integration more difficult. For the parents, the consequences are often financial and professional. Without a confirmed Barnehage spot, one parent is often unable to start their job. This can immediately cut a family's planned income in half and stall a professional's career indefinitely. The stress this places on a family that has just relocated can be immense. Furthermore, the local Barnehage and skole are the central social hubs for families in Norway. It is where you meet other parents in the community, where your children make their first friends, and where you receive invitations to the all-important children's birthday parties or barnebursdag. Being outside of this system for an extended period can leave your entire family feeling socially isolated, making the already challenging process of integration even harder. If you find you have missed a deadline or received an undesirable placement, your options are limited. You can submit a late application and be placed on the waiting list, but you are then at the mercy of chance. You can appeal a school placement decision, but appeals are rarely successful unless you can prove a clear procedural error on the part of the commune. Your best course of action is always prevention. Proactive planning is the only strategy for success. In Norway, the admission systems for kindergarten and school are predictable and fair, but only if you follow the rules of the system. It is not designed to be flexible or to make exceptions. It expects you, the parent, to be informed, to be proactive, and to be responsible. It expects you to know the deadlines, to apply on time, to provide correct and complete documentation, and to read and respond to official digital communications. If you do not fulfill these expectations, the system will not stop and wait for you. The consequences for your child's development, your family's finances, and your successful integration into Norwegian society can be significant. At Norway Relocation Group, we specialize in preventing these problems before they begin. We help international families understand the specific requirements in their commune. We guide them step by step through the Norwegian language application portals, and we ensure that every document is correct and submitted long before the deadline, providing peace of mind during a stressful time. And at our partner, NLS Norwegian Language School, we empower parents with the specific language skills needed to manage these processes with confidence. Our courses focus on the practical vocabulary you will encounter in official letters from the commune, on admission portals, and in your future communications with school staff. Thank you for listening to Norway Perspectives.